P10 Plus is in the house. That's what I'd like to unbox. But before we start, I'm sorry for the troubles with this live video starting. The first time I'm using the YouTube Live app from Google instead of a third-party app, which is what I've been using up to this point for live videos. And it crashed right away. So I took the phone off the stand and had to fiddle with it. And here we are now. So I want to talk to you about this phone, the P10 Plus, and I also have the P10, which I've been using for a while, and I want to talk to you guys about this phone as well. Make basically a quick comparison. I'm not going to obviously configure or set up or start up the P10 Plus other than showing you the screen, but I'm going to at least walk you through what the differences are and why you should probably buy this guy if you're going to look at getting one of the best camera phones on the market today. So as you can see, typical Huawei box, Huawei design. You've got the Leica logo down here, dual camera Leica, Huawei P10 Plus. Now, I don't want to show you the barcode, but at the same time, I do want to show you that this is a whopping 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigabyte version. Yeah, now you're playing with power. Huawei design, some logos here in the back. Soy ink, all that good stuff. As a point of reference, the P10 that I have is the kind of top of the line 4 gigs, 64 gigs of storage version. So, and this is a silver one. I might look gold to you because the lighting is slightly yellow in here because it's a beautiful sunshiny day in San Francisco. But this is just a silver P10 aluminum, nothing fancy, white in front. Now, what we have in here is pretty exciting in terms of color. Very bling. Are you ready? Is everyone ready? Here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah, look at this thing. Beautiful. I'm gonna let you guess the color. What do you think the color is on the back? Based on me just pulling it out. Come on, we're live here. Chime up in the chat. Okay, you're not going to guess. Well, it's gold. This is real gold. And to just compare the difference, this is silver here on the right, the P10, and this is a P10 Plus in gold. And this is the gold with the diamond cut finish. So this should be really cool. I'm not going to remove it. Well, I am going to remove it, but I'm trying to remove it without having to destroy the cover here. So let's see if I can do that. Last time I did this on the P10, I was able to just slide it out like this. So let's see if I can slide it out. No, I'm gonna have to open it. So let's open it very carefully. There we are. Trying not to damage anything because I want to be able to put it back at some point. That's how I am. I'm kind of retentive. Here it is. So let's get rid of that. Dun, dun, dun. And there's that finish. A diamond cut. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if the camera I'm using can actually focus this close. Probably about the edge of what it can do here. But you can kind of see how it's tiny little bumps. I'm going to remove this. Well, I unfortunately don't have any fingernails, so removing this sticker is not going to happen. Anyway, so there's a screen protector here to peel. I believe this is potentially 2 screen protectors. I'm not sure. Like the P10 came with a kind of cover, and then I noticed there was an actually installed screen protector on it, which is kind of cool. I personally don't like those, so I removed it, but I like to live dangerously. But you can clearly see here on the edges of the fingerprint sensor, there's little lines right there. And so there's a fingerprint sensor on this, a screen protector. So this is a phone that's more my size, to be honest. The P10 is too small for me. I mean, I love it, but 5.1 inches versus 5.5 inches, you can clearly see here. Let me start it up, and you can see them both doing their thing. So I hope this gives you a good size comparison between the two. because I think that's one of the most asked questions. A lot of people are like, why should I spend more money on the bigger phone? Well, there's a number of really good reasons. Better f-stop on the camera, that's f over 1.8 on this guy versus f over 2.0. I'm talking about the rear camera. What else is better on this? 6 gigs of RAM versus 4 gigs of RAM. Bigger battery, bigger screen. This is only a 1080p screen on the P10. This is a 2K display, so 2560 by 1440. And so there you go. I'm not going to set it up. I just wanted to show you what it looks like. And just as a point of reference, let's bring up the settings so you can see the color temperature is pretty close. I think this is a little dimmer right now. If I dim this screen a little bit, you will see that it's got a bit of that kind of slightly yellow tinge that we're seeing on the Plus. Let me just adjust it a little bit. There we go. So these are kind of matching, maybe not on the camera here. Let me just bump it up a little. So this should be about the same right now. And as you can see, they both have that slightly yellowish tinge because it's slightly dimmed right now. But very comparable display, both IPS. So let's finish unboxing and then I'll talk about these two phones in more detail, okay? All right, so here you have a little tray. Sorry, I'm bumping the camera, but it's not easy to remove. Without fingernails, I had to, even with a little hole, I had a hard time removing. It's nice. Then you have a bunch of stuff in here. So the first layer of this box is another box, and it says, well, it has a logo for what I think is a SIM removal tool. I don't know what that means. A book? Maybe books, booklets. Let's have a look. You can see the SIM removal tool here. This is going to be hard to do without. There we go. Ah, yes. Oh no, it's not a box. It's a case. Yeah. So the P10 also came with a little kind of PTE, slightly flexible. It's halfway between brittle plastic and PT really flexible plastic, and it's got this frosty coating on it, and of course a big opening for the camera window up here. These are cool cases. They're OEM, obviously. They're from the manufacturer, and I mean, I'm not a big fan of using cases, but if I had to use a case for my P10 or P10 Plus, I would use the one that came with the device because they're really nice. Nothing here. As I said, the SIM removal tool is right over here. Okay, so let's continue digging through here and see. It's like archaeology, right? You keep digging until you're done. Aha! So here, as you can see, there is the USB cable. Now this uses USB Type-C. You can see the connector right inside here, Type-C, and of course Type-A at one end. Type-C right there. So I'm not going to take this out because I already have, obviously, I'm using the Mate 9 charger right now on my P10, and I'm going to use the same Mate 9 charger on the P10 Plus because they all use the same super fast charging technology from Huawei. And this is not Qualcomm's Quick Charge 304. It's not the kind of quick charge that the Pixel uses. This is a different kind of quick charge. Very similar to what OnePlus is using. Earbuds that look a lot like the Apple, whatever they're called, not the AirPods, the EarPods, I guess. Again, I'm probably not going to use these. They're probably not going to sound good enough for me. I'm a snob, what can I say? Then there's another flap on this side, and as you can see, this is a European, or at least potentially parts of Asia, but definitely has a European plug on one end, and it's a pretty big charger, but again, remember, this can charge this entire phone in about an hour max, maybe 30 minutes even. Give it 80%, 30 minutes. So that goes here. And that's it in the box, guys. I mean, I can remove this little partition if you want, but I believe that this is one big piece right here. And I can remove it, but I don't really want to do that. So, ta-da! That's it in the box. So let's see, let's talk about differences between these two phones. First, let me walk you through the P10 Plus in a nutshell and tell you what it's all about. So you have a phone that looks a lot like an iPhone, and this could be a good thing or a bad thing depending who you talk to. Huawei decided to kind of compete head-on with the iPhone, and like the Pixel, they decided to make a phone that looks a lot like an iPhone in the front. Now the big difference between the Pixel and the P10, P10 Plus, and I'll leave the P10 Plus in the background, sorry, the P10 regular in the background so you can see. They both have fingerprint readers in the front, which are a little subdued, but they're there and they're oval. Whereas the Pixel, as you know, has this big chin, which is kind of unsightly. Front-facing camera here, f/1.9, which is kind of delicious. 8 megapixels, no autofocus though. Same camera, front-facing on both. Earpiece, and you can see the earpiece is slightly gold. I don't know if you can see the gold there, but it's delightfully done. It looks like metal, it might be metal. And then you have, proximity sensor, notification light, all that good stuff. Fingerprint reader, as I said, 5.5-inch screen versus 5.1, 1080p versus 2K. I want to repeat, this bears mentioning, but this is not a Daydream device because it doesn't have AMOLED. So both are IPS, both are beautiful, 1080p, 2K. In the back, they're very similar. And thickness-wise, I can tell you right now that the Plus is slightly thicker, but you could barely tell. Let me stack them together so you can have a look at this. As you can see, I'm not sure if you can see, but you can see that perhaps the Plus is just a millimeter thicker or something. Not much, right? So, again, they're very similar, and you have a very similar layout in the back. Let me just flip this one over as well. Look at that. How much more similar can you be? LED flash, dual color, dual LED, laser autofocus, and 2 cameras, right? One is 20 megapixel, one is 12 megapixel. One is monochrome, the 20 megapixel one. One is 12 megapixel in color. These are all exactly the same so far, except for one major deal. This is f/2.2. You see that here? f/2.2. It says Summarit H f/2.2 27 aspherical. Whereas the P10 Plus is, let's see if it'll focus. There we go. So this says something else. Sumilux H f/1.8 27 aspherical. So very similar, but as you know, f-stops matter. f/1.8 means it's going to let in more light than the f/2.2. And that's why I wanted the P10 Plus, because it's already one of the best cameras on the market on the P10. And now with a faster lens, it's even better. By the way, both of the devices have OIS on both of their lenses. So it combines the 20 megapixel monochrome is really there for dynamic range and for the quality of the basically the amount of light and basically gathering the light detail. And then the 12 megapixel, which I think is the one on the right, is there to gather the color information. It's kind of like our eyes. We have cones and we have rods, and one is specialized for color, one is specialized for light. And I don't remember which one is which. I think it's the cones are for light and the rods, I don't know. You guys correct me right now, chat live, tell me, what am I doing, what am I saying wrong? But anyway, the same idea, and then of course having a 20 megapixel and 12 megapixel means that you can do kind of pseudo optical zoom 2 times. If your output is 12 megapixel and you have 20 megapixel to play with, you can have some lossless zooming, and that's what the pseudo optical zoom that both of these phones support has. So of course there is the Huawei logo, this really cool textured finish on the gold one. The camera systems, there's this sticker with the IMEI. In the bottom, you can see they're again identical, right? Let me actually stack them together. So on the bottom, you have, just other than the width, you have a speaker, mono. It's not bad, it sounds pretty loud. Micro USB, sorry, not micro, geez, I keep saying that. It's USB Type-C. All the phones I've been reviewing for the last little while, except for the G5 Plus from Moto, have USB Type-C, so it's awesome. Headphone jack, as it should be. Now there's a little difference here. Not quite sure, but there's screws, which is interesting on the P10, and no screws on the P10 Plus, but the microphone is here, whereas the microphone is over there, the primary mic. On this side, very similar layout as well. On top is a P10 Plus. You can see the power lock key on the bottom and the volume rocker. And there's this really nice little red edging, red machined and anodized edge on the power lock key, which is, I noticed during the press conference at Mobile Congress, and I was like, nice attention to detail, love it. Volume rocker on top. There's a difference here, as you can see, another reason why you want the T10 Plus. Infrared transmitter, secondary mic. So the P10 Plus has an infrared transmitter. I did not know that. And so the SIM tray is on the left side, like for both of them. And you know, both of these are dual SIM, where one of the nano SIM slots can be used as a micro SD expansion. So you get the choice to go micro SD with a nano SIM or 2 nano SIMs. Again, very, very similar setup. Let me go back to a screen that makes sense. So that's in a nutshell a walkthrough of these two phones. Of course, I've already did the unboxing on the P10, but the P10 Plus I just got about a week ago, and I've actually waited to unbox it for you guys. I just want you to know because I just was traveling and I didn't have a really good place with a good setup to do the unboxing. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on this for photography, because as you know, I'm a photography buff. And the Mate 9, sorry, the P10, the P9 last year was interesting because of this dual monochrome black and white 12 megapixel setup, which the Honor 8 inherited, but the Honor 8 didn't have any of the Leica stuff, including the monochrome mode was missing. Then the Mate 9 came out, and the Mate 9, I have it as well, bumped the monochrome camera to 20 megapixel. And added OIS, which is really what we wanted with the P9 last year. The only thing it was missing with the OIS, but having that 20 megapixel and the OIS makes a big difference. And if you want the P10 camera, the same f/2.2 2.2 setup in a bigger phone, the Mate 9 would be your choice, because the cameras are identical, software is slightly different. There's a better portrait mode on the P10, but the P10 Plus is kind of like the ultimate evolution of this camera subsystem, because it adds f/1.8, which faster f-stop, bigger aperture means it can gather more light, and more importantly, gives you this beautiful shallow depths of field, which gives you a great bokeh effect on macro shots and portraits and stuff naturally, in addition to the fact that you can do synthetic bokeh, like on the iPhone, like on a lot of phones today that are dual camera. So other differences, as I said, the screen, I mentioned the screen in great depth, but the processors are the same. Kirin 960, which is Huawei's in-house power monster beast of a processor. Different battery size. So this has a 3,750 milliamp hour battery, whereas this has a 3,200 milliamp hour battery. That makes a big difference. Obviously, the stamina on the P10 is okay, but compared to the Mate 9, it's a little disappointing. So I have a feeling the P10 Plus is going to satisfy. Furthermore, you've got 6 gigs of RAM by default, 4 gigs of RAM on this guy. So more RAM. This is available in 32 and 64 gigs of storage. This is 128. I think there might even be a 64, but I'm not sure. But bottom line is you get more storage, you get more RAM. It's, again, a more expensive phone. And from what we've seen, you can see the moire here as I press on the phone from this finish, a diamond cut, whatever they call it. The other difference is the you get the infrared port at the top for remote control. So I think this is kind of the ultimate Huawei phone right now. The Honor 8 Plus looks really interesting. The Mate 9 is a good play if you want a large screen phone. But other than the bezels, which, you know, after you've seen the G6 and the Galaxy S8 are going to be a little bit big. Other than that, you're looking at a phone that hits all the check boxes in terms of specs. So if you're looking for a camera-centric phone, one of these two won't let you down, but I think the P10 Plus is going to be the way to go. Look at me, I've been going on for almost 20 minutes, so let me wrap this up and say that I will have more soon on my channel, hopefully, about this phone, but more importantly, look for my Twitter and Facebook accounts, Tankl, TNKGRL on Twitter, and my G Plus account, which is linked to this YouTube, to look for photos I'm going to take this phone, because as you know, I love to post photos as I take them on my various social media accounts. And then follow me on Twitter, as I said, TNKGRL. So that's Tankerl without the vowels. And then you can go to my blog, which is tnkgrl.com, but there's really not much going on there right now. And then my YouTube channel, which you're already on. So please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, tell your friends, share this with your friends. I'm always looking for more subscribers. Another thing I did mention last time, but I want to mention again, is I'm about to start my own podcast. And so keep an eye on my Twitter, again, TNKGRL, for an announcement around this. It'll be a weekly audio podcast about smartphones. So I'll be talking about all my impressions and all my feelings about these devices I review and unbox for you on YouTube, but in a more formalized way with a big podcasting network very soon. Again, keep an eye on my Twitter at Tankerl, TNKGRL. All right, guys, I'm going to sign up because like over 21 minutes now. I'm going out of control here down the rabbit hole with these two phones. So P10 Plus unboxing is done, and the P10 next to me here has been a delightful device. Another thing I wanted to quickly say before I leave, please read my G6 review. I reviewed the G6 for ChipChick. I do reviews for chipchick.com. That's chip like a computer chip, chick like a small baby chicken. This is a woman-centric tech channel, chipchick.com. Go check out my G6 review. I do roughly monthly phone reviews for them. And you can know everything I think about the G6. I love the camera on it. I love the phone. I love the screen. And I'm currently reviewing the Galaxy S8. I don't want to put it on camera because I really want to play with it some more before I give you opinions on it. But I've got the GS8 and the GS8 Plus coming up down the pipe as a review for ChipChick. So ChipChick for my reviews on, if you want to read my writing. This channel here for unboxings and odd videos, always live. I love doing live. My channel on, my Twitter channel, my Twitter account is the best place to keep in touch with what I'm doing, see my photos, etc. And then finally, the podcast is coming soon. All right, guys, talk to you later. Cheers.